So the first thing that I need y'all to understand about the judicial system and prison in general is that all crimes, not some crimes, not most crimes, all crimes in the United States of America today are commercial crimes. What does that mean? That means that they stand to make a dollar off you every time that you get locked up for any and everything. You know what I'm saying? And even when you get stopped by the police for a speeding, for whatever, not wearing a seatbelt, that's not necessarily law. Those are statutes. You know what I'm saying? That by right, you don't have to follow. But you think that you do. You know? So this is primarily the reason why not only young black men, but young minorities in general always end up in jail at a young age. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time end up in jail with a lot of time, you know? Because when you get convicted at a young age and you get a sentence like 15 years or 20 years or even 10 years, you end up on the stock market, right? You know what I'm saying? Once that performance bond, that bid bond is put out, you end up as a T-bill or a treasury bill on the stock market. And you have stockbrokers that are investing in this. And the longer you sit in prison, the more money that they stand to make. Interest, so to speak. So I want y'all to understand that this is more of a business than actual justice. They don't care about justice. The parents got to teach their kids and the kids got to listen, because we can't continue to perpetuate this same cycle, you know? All we're doing is ensuring that the pockets of the people that are already rich and fat continue to get money, and they're going to continue to progress within their progeny. You know, their kids gonna continue to have money. They're gonna continue to repeat these cycles as long as it's working. So understand that, y'all. All right, so getting into it. Of course, the crime is committed. Whatever crime that may be. In my case, it was a robbery, right? So I caught my robbery. Now, the first process that you go through is, of course, the preliminary process. You know, you pleading whether you're guilty or not, and you're gonna sit in the county. Now, 9 times out of 10, if you have a class A case, a class A meaning, something dangerous, you know, so to speak, like a robbery, anything dealing with a felony, big drugs and things of that nature. Those are class A cases, murders and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna have a large lump sum bond. 9 times out of 10, your bond is gonna be something that you or your people can't afford to pay. If your bond is $1 million, you have to pay $100,000 to get out. If your bond is $10,000, you got to pay $1,000 to get out. You got to pay 10%. If your bond is $100,000, you got to pay $10,000 to get out. You see what I'm saying? So 9 times out of 10, your bond is already way up there. Okay, so what this does is this eliminates the process of you getting out, which ultimately is going to hinder you when it comes time to defend yourself in court. Getting the proper lawyer, looking up the proper statutes and laws dealing with your case within yourself, actually knowing what to tell the lawyer. Because this lawyer, at the end of the day, whether he's a court-appointed lawyer or whether he's a paid lawyer, he's supposed to be there for you. But if you know anything, guess what? You know that his first order of business is to protect that crown. What do you mean protect that crown, SNTV? All of these lawyers are under that British crown. I'm just going to be honest. And so that's their first order of business. That second order of business is loyalty to the court, right? Their third order of business is loyalty to the public or the people. Then their fourth order of business is actually protecting you. So you ain't really got a chance in court. I'm telling you. Most of the people that beat these cases, whether they had good lawyers or not, was literally able to pay their way out. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, these cases are commercial, which means you can't buy this shit. A lot of people don't believe that, but that's the way it is. If you can settle that case before it makes it to that stock market, you have a great chance on coming out of this shit. You may not be unscathed, but you'll have another chance. You'll see the light of day. Okay, so of course you go through that process. Now you can't pay to get out. So what do? You sitting in the county. What is the county preparing you for? What's going on in the county? The county is preparing you for prison. A lot of these counties, the police taunt you. They come through there, get on your nerves. A lot of them make you get up out your bed at like 6:30 in the morning and sit in the day room to like maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. You know what I'm saying? They don't feed you worth a damn. The food is horrible, and it's not that much of it. So the food is not good, and it's not a lot of it. So what does this cause? This obviously, it causes controversy and strife. You see what I'm saying? So now you got people in the county that's basically fighting for food. We like rats in here fighting for the last piece of cheese. That's what it comes down to. But you have some of us who do have help out there, so it's a little bit easier. That help is eventually gonna disappear. And even if it don't disappear, it's not gonna be what it was when you first went, got locked up or went to the joint or whatever. That eventually fades throughout the years. Okay, so you sitting in the county, so you waiting for your case to come up. Mind you, most Class A felonies in most states, it takes a long time. It takes a long time. The worse of the crime, the longer it takes for you to actually go to court, unless you file a fast and speedy trial. But most people don't like to do that because most people don't know if they have evidence. Most people are scared to death. You got a court-appointed lawyer, you ain't even seen him. You know his name. You ain't even seen your lawyer. You may see him at the preliminary hearing, but he ain't really communicating with you. You don't know what the game plan is. And then most of these counties, it ain't like they have a hell of an extensive law library to where you can study law yourself. And 9 times out of 10, where you messed up initially was that you was in the streets or you was playing the game and didn't know the fucking rules to it, like we always do. So you in the county, you may end up waiting years in the county. I did for a first-degree robbery. I ended up waiting years before I actually, got sentenced. Now, whether you take it to trial or cop out, that's up to you. But here's the difference. Most people cop out because when you cop a plea, you don't force the state to spend money. So they're usually a lot more lenient with your sentence. Even if you cop out to a 20-year sentence, if you would have took that case to trial, you would have probably got a life sentence or 30 or 40 or something like that. Because now you're at the judge's discretion. So most people are going to cop a plea, Okay, so boom. After you either go to trial or cop your plea, then now you're off to the big house. Okay, so when you get to prison, there's first processing. Just like anything in life, where the process begins, there's a beginning. This is the beginning, where you go in and automatically, from the word go, they strive to take your manhood. How do they do this? They strip you butt naked. They make you cut off your hair. Some of them make you cut off your facial hair. They spray you down with all type of shit, you know what I'm saying? Because they say, well, he might have scabies or he might have something like that. So they spray you down with so-called disinfectant spray. They make you bust your rectum open so they can look inside of it with a flashlight. They examine your whole body. You literally get a number and then you're treated like a piece of cattle. This is the process, y'all. So y'all that are out there in the streets know this, man. Once you go to prison, once you cross that line to catch a case and actually get convicted, now you become a piece of cattle. You're not human anymore. You know? You're no longer a 14th Amendment citizen. As a matter of fact, you wasn't no 14th Amendment citizen no goddamn way. Now, you really less than a man, less than a person. So, they get you in there. They examine all your crevices. They do these weird things to make you feel like, damn, like, am I still a human being? Okay, so processing is you having to see a classification officer. Now, the classification officer is going to determine, your level of, how dangerous you are. Whether you're able to be in population, whether you're not able to be in population. Classification consists of a lot of things. What your crime was, what your points are. Points are like how many cases do you have, habitual offender and things of that nature. How many times have you did this? Do you have other crimes? They look in your folder and they examine, okay, does your family have history of doing crime? So they mentally evaluate you, they classify you, they take blood, they test you to see whether you have diseases and all of this. So the process is you basically, now you're in what they call a quarantine dorm. So you're you're away from the rest of the population, which they may have, 9 times out of 10, if you're at a processing camp, there's a certain other population who's been here for a minute, but they're awaiting to go to their permanent camps because they've already gone through the whole process of being processed, So it's all of these stuff. It's EKGs and it's dental work and it's everything that you could think of, all in one. So this is about a week process. So once you get through with that process, you may stay at the processing camp. Some processing camps are actually permanent camps for some people. So some people will actually stay at that processing camp, but most people will end up going to another camp, which will be their home camp, their permanent camp. Okay, once you get to your permanent camp, most prisons, the first thing they do is they get you to sign a waiver. It's saying that it's dangerous in here and you could possibly die. And they're going to ask you, if you do die, where do you want your body to be sent to? Where and who do you want your body to be sent to? This is real. And those of you that have been to the joint know this. So after you go through that process, boom, the waiver, and they check all of your stuff, your store items and things of that nature, now you go back into the jungle. Okay, so when you get back here to the jungle, more than likely, it's about what gang you in, or it's about where you from, skin color. Depending on where you are, different factors play a part in how you move. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can walk around in there and just, be a statue or never get off your rack or something like that. But to be honest with you, the people that try that method, the people that try to use that tactic, they get messed with a lot more. Because people feel like, oh, he's isolated. Don't nobody fuck with him. So he's an easy target. But more than likely, especially if you were in the streets, when you get back there, it's going to be some people that you're going to know. You're going to know some of these people. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to either be around your neighborhood, where you grew up at, or you're going to be around your gang, or you're going to be around your skin color. Because either way it go, no matter what color you is, within this prison facility, you automatically have enemies. Because you got people that's looking at you. You got people that's sizing you up from the moment you walk through the door. You got people in here that's sizing you up to take your butt, man. You got people that's sizing you up to try to rob you in prison. You got people that's sizing you up to try to run a scam on you. And so these are the type of scams that people run in prison, right? So you may come through the prison gates and me and all of my buddies may look at you and say, well, this motherfucker right here is Sweet Vic, right? he's timid, or I could see it in him, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this looked like an easy victim. So we'll put together an elaborate scheme that's gonna get you robbed, and it's gonna get you drained from money to where you're gonna be calling home, basically getting your people to pay these people to protect you. Little do you know, the same people that you're paying to protect you, they're the ones that, quote unquote, put your life in jeopardy in the first place. Because the guy that approached you initially, or the guys that approached you initially, is working with them. This they partners. So they'll put together elaborate plans like, okay, I'm gonna pull up on him and I'm gonna press him. Might slap him around. We might jump on him, take all of his shit, and then boom, that's when you pull up like Superman. No, y'all ain't gonna fuck with him. This, you know what I'm saying? No, y'all ain't gonna fuck with him. Leave him alone. Now, in your mind, you thinking that these your partners because they stood up for you, but the whole time this was a whole fucking elaborate scheme to trick you. These are the type of things that people do in there. And it's kind of no different from the street. Okay, so once this plan is manifested, once they put this plan in motion, now you're basically gonna have to pay these people to protect you. And the moment you stop, or if you don't do it, it's gonna be a lot more problems. This is the biggest issue with being a lone wolf in prison. Unless you just a crazy psycho motherfucker that don't mind being in isolation for your whole bid. And every time somebody pull up on you, you stabbing them, beating them up, or damn near killing them. That's the only way. And truth be told, I'm a social butterfly. So the times that I've been in lockup, it killed me worse than anything. So the average person can't stand being in lockup. You may be the type of person that can deal with being like completely isolated from everybody else for months and years at a time. I couldn't do it. Okay, so you wanna not team up with people, but you want to have associations. It's like kind of like the street. When you in the streets and you don't have associations, man, you look like a sheep. Shit, the wolves gonna attack. It's the same thing. The same rules apply. You still in the world, you just in a different world. So, you get in prison and you doing your time. Now, prison, I don't understand why they say prison is for reformation, because prison is not for reformation. They're not reforming nothing in prison. What prison does is prison makes you worse. In most cases. In some cases, it does reform you, but the reformation is going to come from you. Whether you decide to read books, whether you decide to study the law, whether you decide to exercise, whether you decide to get yourself right physically, mentally, and spiritually, because they're not going to do it because they don't care. They don't care if you do every day of your time in there. And most of the time, they're not going to do nothing to help you, but they're going to do everything to hurt you. Who is they that you speak of, SNTV? I'm talking about the prison system in general, from the warden down to the guards, down to the classification officers, down to the nurses, all of that shit. All of them are one sound body, and they're not going to go against each other for nothing. I don't give a damn. Most of them, 90% of them look at you like, man, it's just another inmate, a scumbag, a dirtbag. And they don't like you because they're trained in the academy or whatever it is that they be trained. They're trained not to like you. They're trained that every one of y'all in here is a scumbag, deserves to be in there, a low life. So don't talk to them. Don't look at them too long. Don't give them extra food. You know what I'm saying? These people will trick you. They'll steal from you. And don't get me wrong, by right, that is true in most instances, but that's not true with everybody. You actually got a lot of creative dudes in prison. You got a lot of good people in prison that just made mistakes or made bad decisions and got caught for them. Everybody makes mistakes and bad decisions. I guarantee everybody that's watching this video, if you watching this video right now, you've done some throughout your life that could have landed you in prison. And you might not even know that you've done something that could have landed you in prison. But 9 times out of 10, you did, especially if you black, because that's how most of us come up. Most of us come up with a warped mindset. Most of us come up following behind people that ain't gonna get us nothing but an early grave or a prison sentence. So if you choose to reform yourself, you could, but if you choose to fall by the wayside or contaminate your mind with nothing but TV and bullshit every day, all day, you could, because in prison, it's a whole lot of bullshit to get into, just like in the streets. As a matter of fact, you'll probably be more prone to the bullshit in prison because there's less positive things to do, right? So the bullshit in prison is basically challenging the rules and statutes of the Department of Corrections. A lot of people, like I did, take programs. Not only does programs occupy your mind, but they do, in some cases, teach you a form of discipline. In some cases, they help you out. Now, dealing with the state, they don't really help you out. But the state get paid, so the state encourages you to take these programs, but the state really, like, you taking these programs ain't gonna lower your sentence none or none of that. You know? They not. But they will help you sometimes mentally. Like I said, I took AA. I took what they call crime bill. I took what they call therapeutic community. I took a meth matrix class. I took I took just about every class or program in prison that the state of Alabama had to offer. Every program. And it did help me out. I'm going to be honest with you. But it helped me out because I wasn't looking at it like I'm just taking this program. I was really trying to get something out of it. Because I really desired change. Because I knew that once I got all of this time that I ended up with, that if and when I did get back out, I was never going to let nothing like this happen again. So if that took me learning how to control my anger, if that took me learning how to be more proactive when it came to preventing problems, I was with it. If you get any infractions, most of the time it takes away time from you. And you have to spend more time in, or it basically enables you to miss your parole when you come up for it, or not get granted parole when you come up for it. A lot of people aren't cut out for prison. I know a lot of them myself, and I tell myself and I tell them, like, listen, you're not the type of person that could withstand prison, right? I mean, you can go in there and come out, but when you go in there and come out, will you still be the same person? And I don't mean the same person as far as still thinking with the same mindset, because nobody should go in prison and come out with the same mindset. I mean the same person as far as you still got your manhood, you're still able to think for yourself, you're still able to function as a normal human being in society, because believe it or not, y'all, prison messes people up. I know a lot of people with PTSD. I know a lot of people with mental disabilities now that they, prison has really messed them up. And over time, doing all of that time, it can really, really cause you to be institutionalized. So you have to find a way to keep your mind outside of prison while your body is stuck in prison. You know? So T.I. said something about prison. He said that when he thinks about prison, there's nothing but the day you go in and the day you come out. He said there's only 2 days. Well, SNTV, being somebody that has done an extensive amount of time in prison, 12 plus years and counting, I'm here to tell you that that's a goddamn lie. Because most people will make it to their destination if they have one to make it to. Some people got life without. Most of us will end up getting out of prison, but for most of us, that journey from the time we came into prison to the time we got out of prison it's rough. It was a long, bumpy road. And if you don't remember that process, if you don't remember that long and bumpy road, if you don't remember the times the way you had to bite your tongue, if you don't remember the times the way you had to use the bathroom, but the officer, they were shaking somebody down in the bathroom, so you had to wait, and you couldn't go to the bathroom, and you almost pissed or shit on yourself. If you can't remember the times to where you was hungry and your stomach was growling and wasn't nothing to eat but some motherfucking chili corn that was stuck to the tray, or that the damn cats and dogs wouldn't even eat because the meat is so poisonous. If you don't remember that type of stuff, guess what? Eventually, when you get out, you'll fall. You'll go astray, and you'll fall right back into those actions that led you to prison in the first place. Can I get an amen? That's all I'm gonna give y'all on this first episode. It's almost over with y'all. Those of y'all that have been with me since day one, I love y'all. Those of y'all that have been with me for a few years, I love y'all. All of my new subscribers, I love y'all. Anybody that's rocking with SNTV, man, I love y'all. All of my haters, I love y'all just as well, you know? This has been the first episode of Prison 101. I'm going to keep these going until I'm done with my story. So this basically was just explaining the whole process of prison and what, how you basically can end up easily in prison. The next video is going to be dealing more with the actual stories and things that I've seen and things that I, went through in prison. It's your boy, SNTV.